All right, so I had this idea with the Mark II's now new and improved pattern sequencer and the ability to resample patterns, being able to determine whether you're recording what's coming out the SP or what's coming in the external source. You can choose just to record what's in the external source. So this really gives you some flexibility to compose original music in the SP now, regardless of whether you're doing sample-based beat making or you're doing completely original compositions. This may be useful if you're recording external synths, like regardless if it's a hardware synth or, you know, a guitar or a mic and you want to do some little vocal parts. What I'm going to be using is a little MIDI controller connected to a Windows tablet running FL Studio Mobile. So I want to make a template to kind of improve this workflow a bit. Just a few little workaround steps to create a little project that you can save and load up. Just knock a couple steps out of that whole process. So the idea of a template is to kind of create a blank document, or like a starting point that has a few steps already started for you, so it can speed up the process. So that's what I'm gonna do right here. So I'm gonna create a pattern sequence with some pre-programmed pad events, but I'm gonna leave those pad events, those sample pads blank. But what you need to do here is I need to create some samples, some placeholder samples before I can sequence them within the pattern sequencer, because if there are no samples on the pads, your pattern sequence will not recognize those pad presses. So I figured out a little hack. So what I'm going to do is just record pretty much some blank samples onto a few pads and then go into the pattern sequencer and trigger those pads so that when I come back later and create these new parts using the resampler in the pattern sequencer, they will now be already programmed into that pattern. Okay, so this is what I'll do. I'll hit resample, select the pad, hit record real quick and stop real quick. It doesn't even matter how long the sample is. So now I have a blank sample. I'm gonna just do this for 4 pads. You could do it for as many pads as you want. My beat's usually pretty simple, so I'm just gonna need, you know, some drums and then like 4 parts. I'm gonna do like chords, melody, bass line, and maybe something else. So I'm just gonna repeat the same process for these top 4 pads. So there we go, bunch of blank pads. Then I'll go into the pattern sequencer. So there we go. All I did was record in all those pads simultaneously. I left quantize on so that it's, you know, make sure that it's on the grid on 1. And that's all I need to do. Escape, exit the pattern sequence. Now that I've done that, and I can go over here and delete all these, because they were just placeholders to be able to trigger those notes within the pattern sequencer. This is just something I noticed that happened when I was trying to redo takes, is that I would record a part on a pad and then sequence it to a pattern and then erase it because I didn't like that part. And then I go and try again on the same pad, and then I noticed that it was already still programmed within the pattern. So I kind of just stumbled across this little hack here. So I'm going to delete these and I'll go into my pattern sequencer. Now I can create I'll create like a little drum pattern, and then I'll start to play some parts externally. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna select the same pattern. I'm gonna turn quantize off, just so I like to select my settings that way when I'm doing drums. All right, so now that I have some sort of drum pattern, I'm gonna go into resample mode and I'm gonna start playing something over here on FL Studio Mobile from the MIDI controller. You'll be able to see how it's immediately on the pad. So I'd rather have this template set up so I don't have to come back and, you know, program the pad press into the pattern again. This way, it's kind of like on the fly. There's only one adjustment that you got to do pretty much, and that's turn gate off for your sample so that the loop plays out. Here we go. I'm gonna set it up, and then I'm also gonna make sure my external source is set to external in only rather than the mix. So right now it's on mix. I don't want to get my drums recorded as well as my part, so I'll switch that. Select the pad. I'll put on pad 1, and now I just got to press this because now I'm going to be triggering the pattern while I'm playing. So I kind of got to do this simultaneously while I'm playing the keys. So now when I play this back, now I'm outside of the pattern. It just brings you out here. Now it's on gate. Got to turn it off, and then now it'll just loop. So if I go back into the pattern, it'll be already programmed to my pattern. Okay, not bad. Timing's not perfect, but that's just due to my playing. So I'm gonna move on over to like a bass line, so I can practice this if I want. So I'll do something like that. Go back, resample again. Select pad 2. All right, so same deal. Turn gate off. Some of these, they end up recording a lot quieter than they sound when you're monitoring it, so I'll normalize it. I'm gonna turn this down a bit. Okay, pattern. All right, so just like that, I can move on to the next part, hit resample, select the next pad, and go. So there you go. That's pretty much the idea, is just setting up some pad presses in your pattern sequencer before you do the resample, and then turn the input to just external source so that you can record those parts individually and have them separated. The SP naturally saves all your stuff without having to save it, so you load up that same project and it'll be there. You can also copy that project over, so you could maybe just have this as a set place in one of your projects and then never use it, just leave it blank and then copy it over. So let's take a look at that real quick. In order to access your projects, you hold shift and press the sub pad, and then you can see all your projects that you've created. They'll be lit up like a bright orange, and then the one that you're currently on will be the pad that's blinking, that yellow. So if you want to just keep a blank project like this, say you've done, you created your little fake samples right there, little blank samples, and then program press like I did earlier, and into your pattern sequencer, leave that project blank and leave it here. And then you can just, every time you want to start a new project, go in here, hit copy that project, move it over. As you can see, it's ready to copy project 5 over to project 6, and then just press copy again, and there you go. You're on your next project and it's blank, ready to go. Now you can just start creating, composing and stuff. All right, so there you go. That's my video. That's my idea. If you guys appreciate it, please leave a comment. That's the best way you can support. Throw a thumbs up. Check out the Lifted Noise store. I got some t-shirt designs on there that are kind of mind state stuff to encourage you, things that I've come up to encourage myself. Check out the Patreon. I am restructuring that, no longer doing sound design over there, but I'm still providing samples here and there. I just want to free myself from sound designing and focus on songwriting, just because that's more important to me. And I'm just vocalizing that on my YouTube channel because I believe that that's how I get to my goals, is by speaking it and then holding myself accountable. So yeah, I appreciate y'all. Till next time, stay humble, lift noise. God bless, be bold, and run with your dreams.